For the first 7 sessions of this test match, it was even Stevens with Australia with their noses ahead. But now that seems to be changing, with Australia pulling slightly ahead in this test match, all courtesy the lead that they got in that first inning. It was a 43-run lead. It's now stretched to close to 76 runs. And there you have it. It's Aaron Finch, not out 25, but just before lunch break was taken, he had to walk off with an injury on his finger. You are watching Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket Info Matchday. With me, VVS Lakshman, Murli Karthik, Damian Martin. Start with you, Lakshman. Not looking good for India now.
Yeah, I think the bowlers bowled well. But having said that, I think the way Marcus Harris applied himself, even after getting hit on the helmet, he showed that composure and the grit. And also Finch, for the first time in this series, I felt that he was looking confident, especially the on-the-rise shot of Ishant Sharma and then Bumrah. But unfortunately, just before the tea break, if he injured his finger, had to walk off. I'm not sure whether he'll resume his innings, but good start for Australia in the batting department.
Okay, talking about that injury, Damian, with Aaron Finch walking off, is this something that will worry the Indian batsmen? Also an indication of how the pitch may behave going forward?
Yeah, look, the pitch is not looking good at the moment. That was an ugly spell of bowling and to bat. And as Laxman said, I think Harris, they did well to get through it. I mean, needed a bit of luck too, a lot of plays and misses, a few chances, and a couple of hard ones went down. But the Finch injury is a worry, especially, the way he was being more positive. But, yeah, it's one of those wickets now. It's starting, you need to have a bit of luck on your side because that new ball is flying around and you just got to worry now. If you're Indian batsman, you're more worried about what score you're going to chase and how hard it's going to be in the last day.
If I was to use a word to just sum up that bowling session by India, unlucky would be the best word?
Yeah, absolutely spot on. I think the first 10 overs, especially from Ishant and Bumrah, they, as Martin said, beat the bad edges, some which should possibly, if it had gone India's way, it looks completely different, but 10 luckless overs. Yeah, the important thing is that you don't let up on that. You can't think that, oh, we've been luckless, so you can take your foot off the pedal. The bowlers following up, Shami and Umesh Yadav have to maintain the intensity. Otherwise, this lead of 76 will suddenly look something different.
That's the difference. Indian bowlers bowling well, but their openers, the Australian openers, stuck around. And that's been the difference. Indian openers have failed to do.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and if you compare, Indian openers are more experienced, more established than the Australian openers. But I think one important thing for Virat Kohli and the bowling unit is not to lose patience, because in the mindset if they have, where they have to be aggressive and keep on picking wickets, they can also leak runs. So it's very important to have fielders where you think that runs can be scored, but at the same time have attacking fields. It's very important because each and every run Australia scores, I think it will become more and more difficult for India in the 4th innings. So I think it's very important how Virat Kohli manages the field settings. In and out field is something which is very important. Have a fielder probably in the third man deep point region, because there are a lot of outside edges which may go as the match progresses.
The one wicket India could have had, of course, Aaron Finch is probably retired, hurt, may not come back looking at that injury. The one wicket they could have had was of Harris. Whose catch was it? I'll start with you.
For me, it was Rishabh Pant, because of the fact that he's the man with the gloves. If you're wrong-footed, he went the other way around. It was flying, it was quick, going low to Cheteshwar Pujara. So I thought it was, for me personally, it was Rishabh Pant's catch.
For me, it's Pujara's catch. Yes, Rishabh Pant was wrong-footed, and that you expect, especially when a bowler is bowling round the wicket. I can understand if the bowler is bowling over the wicket with the angle, especially the angle which is created by Bumrah and Ishant Sharma, which leaves the left-hander, then you expect the keeper to go along with that. He should have gone. But having said that, I think Pujara should have taken that. It's a tough chance, but Pujara should have taken that.
Okay, we've got VVS go with Pujara. We've got Murli Karthik go with Pant. Okay, you have the casting vote, Damian.
Well, there you go. I think it's both their fault. But several reasons for that. I think, yes, I think they were too far apart. I think that the keeper obviously went the wrong way. Maybe he's standing too straight. I mean, no catch should go through between keeper and first slip. So maybe that's a communication thing between both of them too. Maybe first slip was just too wide, because yes, it was probably more the first slip's catch, but the keeper sort of, when I went in our team, the keeper sort of set us up in a way. Gilly would stand there and go, okay, spaces, and make sure that the room was the right way without anything going through in a sense. So I think it's a combination of both their fault.
Okay, I'm just looking at reactions. Plenty of reaction on that catch. If you've got any question, do send in to us on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page as well. But we already got one question, and this is with regards to that catch. Jiten wants to know, does Pant have a technical flaw when keeping to the seamer from round the wicket, as he takes a step down the leg side when the ball is bowled, resulting in him being wrong-footed and therefore cannot cover for the outside edge? VVS, I'll get you to answer that, but that wrong-footed that he's talking about, I only saw with this delivery a couple of replays shown from the first innings where he wasn't taking that wrong.
Yeah, sometimes when the bowler is bowling around the wicket, you don't really expect so often, where the ball will go between the first slip and the keeper. If it is from over the wicket, then it's a big mistake, if he's wrong-footed, because majority of the ball will be leaving the left-hand batsman. But it's the best keepers with whom I played, they always told that the balance is very important, and based on where the ball is going, you tend to take your body there, and footwork is very, very important in the way your body moves.
Okay, even though you picked it was Pant's catch, but have you noticed a trend there, or was this an aberration? Have you really seen him being wrong-footed on most occasions, or just happened this one time?
Look, you have to look at all the good keepers and what they do well, and just like you look at other good batsmen and wonder why they are so good. So with somebody like Rishabh Pant, obviously the way Riddhiman Saha would move or someone else would move side to side, which is a drill which they practice. It's not just standing or diving alone, it's getting up with the ball at the right time and moving side to side and being that anticipatory bail which they get when they see the bowler. I think that is very important. I think that is something which is a work in progress for Rishabh Pant. In the first innings you saw him go for those catches and take them of those two left-handers of successive deliveries, and now there are quite a few times, not just in this test, even in other test matches, where he has either gotten up late or moved late. So that is something which is always evident or vivid in the way he keeps.
All right, there's a distinct difference in Rishabh Pant. On some occasion he looks outstanding when he's keeping, and then those mistakes have also crept into his keeping, as the experts were saying. Okay, India fell short by 43 runs when they were batting in their first inning, all thanks to one bowler from Australia, Nathan Lyon. Now, he's been outstanding in this particular pitch. I'll go across to Damien. Damien, we looked at those stats of that Sheffield Shield game, picked up 7 wickets there, has picked up 5-4 on a pitch that was expected to actually assist the pace bowlers.
Yes, it was, but it's also one of those unknown pitches, as we saw. I think a lot of grass at the start, and we all looked at it, and thought, what was going to happen. But Lyon's been part of this bowling attack for a long time, and deserves to be there. And I think they just thought that, as we spoke at the start, a bit of variation, but also the amount of wickets he gets and the confidence he gets, but also he rests the bowlers and he bowls in partnerships. And this wicket now has deteriorated in the sense that there's bounce and there's different variation, and he will be a big part in that last day. I mean, he could get another 5 wickets and win the test match. I know Murali will be onto this, saying that India didn't play a spinner, and that's the gamble you take at the start, isn't it? When you see a wicket like that and go, do we go 4 seamers or do we go 3 in the spinner?
He's hurting them twice, would you say, Nathan Lyon? One, of course, by picking a wicket, but every time he picks a wicket, maybe a realization sets in there, oh, we haven't picked a spinner.
Look, you don't look at things like that, but having said that, what are things? And I'll again harp on what I've been saying. You don't pick a squad. If you expect that the wicket's going to stay the same for 5 days, then I can understand 4 seamers. But if you know that it's not a 1-day game, but it's a 5-day game, and Perth invariably historically with the sun, the wickets have always broken or they've disintegrated, and if cracks are evident from the first day, they're going to be getting wider as the day progresses. And for me, it was just a question of everything put together, what Jadeja offers with the ball, with the bat. And if you're having 4 number 11s, it's not going to help. Because, look, you could go through, any bowler can go through a spell and rip through the middle order. So you need to have those options in terms of bowling, in terms of batting. So that's why I kept saying that Jadeja and Bhuvneshwar Kumar keeping in mind the conditions, and Ravindra Jadeja keeping in mind that he brings an all-round skill there.
Okay, I think we have to give credit to Nathan Lyon, and nothing there on offer as far as the wicket is concerned for Nathan Lyon, because when you saw his dismissals, how many times was it outside edge and how many times was it where the ball was sharply turning or bouncing?
Outside edge,
and we discussed this elaborately last night that there's nothing as far as the wicket columns were concerned. But the greatness of the bowler is, and that's something which I've always seen with great bowlers, is when there's nothing from the wicket, it's very important to contain the flow of runs. So the discipline was there when the wickets were not he was not getting the wickets, and then suddenly once he gets the wickets, he's neither given runs, so he's done the controlling job, at the same time he's also picked up wickets, and that's something which is very, very impressive, you know. And again, his discipline was exemplary, like the way it was in Adelaide.
You hit the nail on the head, as VVS mentions there. It's not just, you know, about picking wickets. When he's not getting the wickets, he puts, you know, ensures that runs are not given, and that is why eventually results in him getting all those wickets. I mentioned how Nathan Lyon does rather well on this stadium based on those 2 matches that he's played, but also he does rather well while playing against India. Now, these are most 5-fers against India in Test match cricket. He's tied with that great man there, Muthaiya Muralidharan. 7 times he's picked up 5 wickets, and Murli got that in 105 wickets in all in 22 matches. He's done that in 16 matches. Good friend of yours, Muthaiya Muralidharan, to match him at any level is incredible.
Absolutely, you know, and again, credit to Nathan Lyon, you know, because he's someone that not only in Australia but around the world. I still remember the way he bowled in the Bangalore Test match. The first day of the Bangalore Test match, not much on offer, but when you saw the pitch map of Nathan Lyon, he got 8 wickets, and 90% of his deliveries were in that good length area. And also sometimes I think the footwork or the game plan against Nathan Lyon exhibited by the Indian batsman hasn't been great. You know, and it doesn't give you that opportunity to rock back on the back foot and play the shots square of the wicket on the offside or on the onside. So it almost forces the Indian batsman to come forward and play defensive stroke, because also the pace at which he bowls and the drifts which he gets, you can't easily use the feet to play the shots. So I think credit to him, without having too many variations like what Muthaiya Muralidharan had. You know, I have not seen Nathan Lyon bowl a doosra or a carom ball, but Murli was exceptional. But I think it's just because of his control and the way he drifts the ball and is consistent with his length that he puts pressure on the batsman.
Yeah, you made that point too, without not experimenting too much, sticking to what he does best.
See, the first thing we were taught as a spinner was that you need to spin the ball, and somebody like him, when others think that there's not a lot on offer, he's able to spin the ball. Even today there were a couple of deliveries which it spun from outside the off stump, and then that's where it creates the doubt. When you start playing for the ball which turns in, then the natural variation from the surface takes over. And also people need to remember that he's got this great ability to vary his pace from around 100 to 78. That's around a 22 kilometer variation, and that with the amount of drop which he gets. And every time, see, people, how do you counter a spinner? Sometimes you counter a spinner with solid spin, solid defense. Sometimes you counter a spinner by trying to put him off his length by running at him and hitting him over. He doesn't allow you that. Yes, Rishabh Pant did play those shots, but he played with a lot of danger. You've seen every time Cheteshwar Pujara runs at Nathan Lyon, and when he runs at other spinners around the world, he's able to hit them through mid-wicket. Over here, he runs at him and he sees that the ball's dropped, and he's trying to either go for the second line of defense. Even when he tries to flick, he gets inside edge. Somebody like a Virat Kohli who's so good against spinners, he's been dismissed by Nathan Lyon in spite of knowing that he's only going to be bowling there and thereabouts. Just like Glenn McGrath, you knew that the ball was going to pitch there. After that, you were still groping, and somebody like a Nathan Lyon gets the ball to go there, gets that ball to drop ever so quickly, and then bounce. So it's a great trait. I wish many bowlers and many of us had that kind of
just
skill.
on that, you know, because Karthik is one of the best spinners I played with. Why do you think that he gets the drop, number one, and how can he vary so much of pace? Because that's something which is very interesting.
It's based on a solid action, and I keep repeating this. And I remember Ravi Ashwin also saying that people keep saying that I'm not a body bowler, which means that the body doesn't go. But how do I change it? You look at the leap which he has, you look at the momentum which he gains, and then he's got a rock solid repeatable action, and then the body going forward, and just the right release point at the top of his release, which is opening a doorknob. And you can see that what we keep harping on, the overspin, every time the ball or the seam is pointing towards the leg slip. And that is going to trouble you on every surface, and that gets you the drift. Then the body finish, and then the way you finish, he gets the ball to drift both ways. And obviously he's got that solid action which doesn't tire even when he's bowling 30-35 overs, and that's why body is required. I always keep telling people, keep telling spinners that you don't bowl with your hands, you bowl with your legs. If you've got solid legs, you're going to be as strong as you were in your 34th over as you were in your first over. And it's just a combination of so many things which I seriously feel that I wish many of us had that kind of skill.
Because that's a dying skill. Because I still remember when I started playing for Hyderabad, and playing some of the greats.
Kamaljeet had that.
Kavalbhai, and some of the greats, like Shivlal Yadav. I was talking about one left-arm spinner. I was having under-19 camp in Bangalore. Vijay Krishna, who played for Karnataka, left-arm spinner. The kind of drift they used to get and the kind of dip they used to get. None of the modern bowlers I played against got that. It's interesting.
Yeah, and interesting that Murali Karthik talks about, bowling from the legs. I was just reading that Nathan Lyons worked a lot on his fitness as well, and that clearly is showing with the performance that he's delivering for Australia. Okay, we'll take plenty of questions coming in from YouTube, from our Facebook page as well. We'll take a couple of those questions for our expert. This is Srinivasa, who wants to know, this is for VVS, considering India is not playing with a special spinner, what advice you want to give the pacers to restrict Australia from scoring big?
Again, have to be disciplined, and they cannot try to get a batsman out in 4 or 5 different manner. So there has to be only 1 or 2 ways of getting a batsman out, and stick to the discipline and then execute that plan. Just like the way they've done in Adelaide. At Adelaide, you saw that they got the batsman out on a placid wicket by not having 4 or 5 different plans for the batsman. So I think discipline will be very important. More important will be the patience, because everyone expects the 4 fast bowlers to pick wickets at regular intervals, considering the way the wicket is behaving. But you may not be lucky, like the way we saw just before tea, but it's where you have to be patient and you have to be disciplined.
Okay, final, the players are already out. Final comment from Damien Martin. Damien, talking about Rishabh Pant, one thing that we noticed, he was trying to be aggressive, but the way he was giving away the strikes to the tail enders, you think something he could have looked at? Because it happened twice. He allowed Ishant to take that single last ball and then ends up facing and gives the wicket away. Something that he needs to work on?
Well, yeah, it's a hard one too, isn't it? Sometimes, Steve Worcester, he was back the tailenders to face deliveries as well. So it depends on their game plan. It's a hard one. He was trying to, make as many runs as he could. The way it worked out, it didn't work out well. Yes, putting the tailenders on strike, losing wickets. So it depends on the captain, really, what he thought and what game plan they wanted.
All right, we seem to have some sort of problem with Damien's audio, but thank you so much. Completely out of time. VVS Lakshman, Murali Karthik, Damien Martin. It's going to be a decisive session. India would have to pick up a few wickets if they want to make a match out of this. This was ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, presented by Maruti Suzuki.